It's chili season here in Texas, guys. And if you want to know how I make my hog's breath chili, I'll tell you. Just hit like and subscribe. I'll show you this recipe and many more. Now, guys, I've got to stop the video here for a second and just pop this in here. If there's ever been a more beautiful choice Angus pot roast, I'd like to know where you get those at, because where I live in this small little town, our Walmart generally has shitty beef. This is Walmart beef, guys. That's every bit of prime. I know it came labeled as Angus choice, but guys, that's every bit of prime. I used to sell beef in my day. You see that, even that little bitty bit of a tertiary marbling, that real thin stuff, not the major stuff. Some of that's just indicative of chuck, like that's shoulder knot. That's a big knot right there. But all that little stuff, guys, that's gonna eat prime all day. We're gonna go ahead and cube this up. We're gonna brown it off in our bacon fat. Why bacon? I'm not gonna put the bacon in there. You'll see what happens with it right after this. I gotta do it one more time. Man, the marbling on this thing and the way the muscle is, the way I'm cutting it, okay, the grain is pretty consistent considering this is a 7 or 8 piece muscle. Actually, shoulder's 8 major muscles. You can almost count them. There's 8 of them. This thing's cutting like, golly bum. All right, guys, so over here you can see the bacon is cooking very quickly. We do have our fond left behind. That's what I want, guys, because I'm going to take this bacon out and I'm going to leave the grease in there. The bacon, well, that's a snack for me. I'm not going to leave it in the actual chili because I find it to be a little bit verbose, over the top, if you will. I want to eat chili, not burger bacon chili. So I do all these extra steps. Anyway, this beef is going to go into that pan. It's going to soak up all that fond. Oh, yeah, stick around. Okay, guys, we're going to have to call an audible here. So the idea I had was I was going to use this fond from the bacon grease to cook our chuck roast in. But as you can see, guys, this is pulled off the heat now, but it was very, very hot. The bacon is rendering perfectly. We're going to save that as our snack. But I was going to cook the meat directly onto here. The problem is, guys, this has gone too far. So I'm going to reverse course. I'm going to go ahead and do my veg and my liquids in here, and I'm going to use this to get this useful fond. Right now, this fond tastes delicious. If we let it go too much longer, it's going to be dog shit. I don't know about you, but I like good fond, not poo-poo fond. So I don't know where that last video cut out, but guys, we went ahead and took the bacon out, okay? That's going to be our little chef snack. I'm not going to do the meat in here because the myoglobin and proteins, I believe, are going to stick even more than what this already has. We're going to go ahead and come over here and get our veg, and we're going to go ahead and deglaze this pan, which will be beer, chicken stock, a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, and a little bit of garlic puree. Okay, we'll be right back. So we got our onions, green bell peppers, and carrots, and there are some diced up jalapeno in there as well, fresh from Vern and his wife's garden, Miss Blanca. So like I said, we're going to use this. We're going to sweat these veg down now so that we can recoup 100% of that goodness that's coming up, as you see there. That's building flavors, guys. That's going to be layer 1 of flavor right there. Now, this is bacon grease. This is Wright's brand bacon. It's very salty, applewood smoked, so you don't need to add salt to your veg at this point. You can if you want to, guys, but this is chili. It's going to get salty along the way. Okay, you're always going to be testing and tasting and adjusting your seasonings and whatnot. I find it best to skip the salt at this point. Remember, we've got, even though we're using reduced sodium chicken broth, there's going to be a lot of salt in that. So stick around, guys. So these veg, guys, have been really reducing down nicely. Okay, we've been getting a lot of that fond off the bottom there, but still we're going to have to incorporate some liquid here. So what I'm going to do is, instead of just go ahead and putting a liquid in there, which I could do to reduce this problem, I'm going to go ahead and take my dogs are howling outside. That's cool. I'm going to take my can of tomato paste and toast it with these veg just for a quick minute or two so that we can get the good flavor umamis from the that reside in the tomato paste. So let me toast this off into there. Then I can add my spices from the Wick Fowler's 2-alarm chili kit. And then we're going to go ahead and then we're going to put our liquids in, guys. So we're going to concentrate all the solids first. Then we're going to give it its little bath. I really should be charging y'all for these tips and techniques here. Okay, guys, so what you will see here as I switch hands here, I took my little 8-ounce can of whatever, 5-ounce can of that tomato paste. I incorporated it in, and I used about 1 can, empty can of tomato paste full of water. And you see I was able to totally scrape all of that fond into that tomato sauce, who was already caramelizing over high heat. I've since taken him off. But I just want to slow this down for a minute. This is a very important step. This is where you're building a lot of flavors, a lot of deep flavors, sugars who are coming out of not just the carrots and the peppers and the onions, but the tomatoes. So let's slow this down a little bit. We're going to add all of our seasoning packs, guys. We're going to get this thing real thirsty. And then we're going to come in with a couple of beautiful beers and some chicken broth. So let's see what that looks like. Sakalai. All right, guys, if you've ever cooked with Wick Fowler's chili, you know that it comes in compartmentalized packages of like chili powder, paprika, red hot pepper flakes, which I did not use. It comes with the granulated garlic and onion, which I did use, and chili powder. So we mixed all that in with our concentrated flavors. Remember, from our fond and everything, we've only added about 5 ounces of water to this whole thing so far. So that, we're going to put that back on the heat. We're going to get it to where it starts steaming. Then we're going to add 2 beers. We're going to add some chicken stock and a bottle of water. And we're going to see where we're at, guys. Then we're going to add the meat. Oh, don't that pretty boy. Look at that sheen on top, guys. That glowing sheen, that luminescence almost. Guys, that's all the steps we took. That's that flavor expression. That's that love, guys. Oh, man. Go ahead and slap your mama for not knowing all that. Be back in a minute. Okay, guys, look at the beautiful sheen on the top of that. Okay, that is just our chili without the meat, guys. Okay, we're going to bring this to a boil, let that tomato sauce do its thing. Inside the flavoring packets of the Wick Fowler's chili, they do include a masa packet, which I do not use unless I absolutely need it. It's a great thickener, but I prefer to let the tomato starches do the job if I can. Now, guys, another thing, I saw another guy on YouTube the other day, a guy that looks like he knew what the hell he was doing, actually, a chef guy. He put his, he was using venison, actually, but I don't have access to venison quite yet. Hunting season's not here yet, so he put it in there with no seasoning, boom, right in there, and let it come up to the boil. All right, I don't know about that. I'm gonna go ahead and boil my, let's call it my base, right? I'm gonna boil that base. I'm gonna see what the consistency is. I'm gonna reduce it to a simmer. Then I'm gonna put my meat in there because I wanna make sure that I get a good consistency out of this chili. I'm very picky. I'm gonna be sharing this with some people who have never had my cooking before. So it's really important to me that we don't make any missteps here. So let me go ahead and bring this to a boil. I'm going to reduce it to a simmer, and when it's time to put the meat in, I'll bring you back. Here's a little tidbit y'all might find useful. Okay, I always double pop my chili, all right? Yeah, let me explain. So you see that scum coming to the top, those bubbles? That is the tomato, the gases in the tomatoes. They are bubbling up, okay? Right there is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for like a little gassy, it looks like it's about to explode, right? It looks like it's about to explode, and it will if I don't hurry up and knock that down and stir it. I'm going to stir that, guys, and I'm going to let it come back up again, knock it down again. That's when I know it's thick. I'm going to add my meat, and I'll bring it back. Come to the boil twice. I popped it down twice, guys. I reduced it to a slight simmer, which is where we are now, and I went ahead and I added the 2.5 pound or 2.25 pound chuck roast, I believe it was, that I cut up into smaller cubes. And guys, we're just going to let this simmer for an hour or two, just uncovered. We're gonna let it reduce. I would expect we're gonna lose 20% of that through evaporation, condensation, encapsulation, you know, all the good attenuations you can do there. But guys, here is what a flavor machine looks like, okay? We're gonna let this slowly simmer. Evaporation is gonna occur, which means less water, more flavor. Stick around. All right, guys, we are here with the finished product. Bam, Hog's Breath Chili, guys. Now, a friend of mine here just asked me, why do I call it Hog's Breath Chili if I made it with cow meat, beef? Well, the answer I told him is the truth. Many, many years ago when I came up with this kind of formula, if you will, recipe, my friend Jody, myself, Wayne, and one of Wayne's friends, they had brought in a couple of wild pigs and we were deboning the hindquarters. The meat that we used, I was in charge of cutting it into strips. We used it for our chili. I came up with my recipe originally with wild boar meat. That's why I call it Hog's Breath Chili. Guys, get some crackers, dip it off in there. Guys, I ain't even gonna embarrass myself eating that on camera. Y'all know that's good. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit like and subscribe. Appreciate it. Have a great day.